Hello there, basement dweller gamers, and welcome back to the Average Joe Show. For today's video, we are going to be talking about the new Pokemon game that has just released, Pokemon Legends Za. Now, I've seen a lot of, they're not mixed reviews, I think a lot of people are very negative on the game, and I think there is a very good reason for that. They bring up a bunch of good points, and the game is definitely not perfect. But I have been playing it for about 13 hours, and there are things that I do like about the game. Other things, I'm kind of up in the air on if I like it or not. It's kind of gonna be a little bit of spoilers in there, but if you guys don't mind, I'm gonna talk about Legends Za and figure out if this game is actually good or not. So stay right where you are, right here, right now. You are watching the Average Joe Show. Let's go talk about Legends Za. Is it good? Is it bad? Who knows? Let's just get to the gameplay. Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you've all been doing very, very well. I hope you have all gone out, got your copy of Legends Za, and no, this is not paid promotion for the Pokemon channel. What I mean by that is that I hope if you guys wanted this game, you were able to get it and have been enjoying playing it, because if you go on this wonderful place known as the internet, there are a lot of mixed reviews on, maybe not even reviews. There's a lot of good things being said about the game. There's a lot of good points being brought up by other people. There's a lot of people also saying negative things about the game, and whether or not I agree with them is, a different video. But I do think that nothing that is being said is untrue. So a lot of things and points that are being made are entirely up to the person, right? And there are spots in this game where you're absolutely going to love. There are spots in this game you're absolutely going to hate, and maybe none of it clicks for you. That is totally okay. But I would say overall, there has been enough games released on Pokemon within the recent years that are just not up to par. So if you're going into this game thinking that you're going to be surprised that this game's going to be the next graphical powerhouse, it's going to be the new generation of Pokemon. I'm sorry to say, for the last 7 years, ever since Pokemon has moved on to the Switch, we have not gotten a game that's going to change that narrative. Pokemon is going to produce games on their, whatever they deem their current engine is. They are not going to optimize it at all until the last game on that engine, and then they're going to go to an entirely new, underperforming engine to run all their games on. And that has not really changed. I think Pokemon has always done best and has always looked the best in the 2D format. So black and white, guys. So Black and White 2 had the peak art. Everything else after that, starting at X and Y, just becomes bad. Which is funny, because when X and Y first came out, was that next graphical jump to 3D, and they didn't push any boundaries with that. And I do think that starting with X and Y is where you really started to see that kind of non-ambition. But I won't harp on that too much. If you guys bought this thinking that this game was going to be the next greatest graphical endeavor, then I was unfortunately right in my other videos talking about this, where they use the same exact models from Scarlet and Violet, and they kind of perfected them, kind of up-res them a little bit. They were not finished when they released Scarlet and Violet, and they kind of finished them in this game. But anyway, game's out. People have their opinions on it. Mega Evolution's back. X and Y Luminous City is back. And yeah, let's talk about the game. Let's talk about the game and in its base form. So far, the story is pretty basic. You start off, what they did bring back is the friends. So not like the friends in X and Y, but the part where you're kind of in Luminous City. You get there on train, and you're kind of taken into the hotel, which is run by Az, which was a character in X and Y. And you're with Tawny, Lita, and Navern. Excuse me, I am not very good at English today. And you basically set up camp in the hotel, and there is battles to be done, moving up in the battle ranks from Z to A. So they say, Z to A. And rogue mega evolutions happening all around town. And you're just trying to do side quests to help the urban development of Lumino City. That is basically the story. So nothing groundbreaking. I think with the Legends game, they're trying to do, different stories where you don't need teams. You don't need maybe like a evil character, but make fewer amount of characters, but make them a little bit more in depth. I don't think in Legends Arceus any of the characters besides like Volo went really too far in depth, but at least in this game, I do feel like I enjoy the majority of the characters that I've seen so far. I'm basically right now I'm at like rank D. I believe I just got to rank D, and now I'm gonna go do C, B, and then A, and I'm assuming that's the end of the game. So far, all the I'll call them important characters have been fine. They've been good. I like the supposedly your rival character, Tawny. Probably the best rival, quote unquote rival character since Black and White, like Charon or something. I really didn't like the direction they started taking with the rival character, probably around Sun and Moon. But it's good to see that like they're nice, but they all have their own unique personalities, and they all have their own different thing. But this is Pokemon. This is not like human relationships and all that kind of stuff. Let's talk about the Pokemon and the Mega Evolutions and what I think this game is actually doing better than Legends Arceus as well as Scarlet and Violet. So if you guys didn't know, I have the Switch 2. I am playing this on the Switch 2 edition, and I can officially say that Pokemon games running at a higher resolution and with better frame rate is just a better overall experience. Whether or not everything is up to your own standards, I do think that just playing games without frame drops, which the frame drops have been happening since the 3DS. You go into a double battle on X and Y, for instance, immediately drops the frame rate on the 3DS. So this has been a consistent problem through most of Pokemon. And playing and seeing Pokemon, how they're actually supposed to act and interact, reminds me of all the way back during the GameCube era with Pokemon Coliseum and Gale of Darkness, where there really wasn't any slowdown when attacks are going. There wasn't any slowdown when the Pokemon are constantly animating. Like, it is really good to play a Pokemon game that just never drops. And the battles are faster, the Pokemon run with you faster, and the pop-in is less noticeable. So overall, the Switch 2 edition has been running totally fine for me. I have not seen any really game-breaking bugs. Sometimes, like, the Pokemon can, like, shoot its head into a wall, but that was pretty much standard through all of Scarlet and Violet. What I would say to those who say that they like Scarlet and Violet but don't like this game, I don't know where your head's at, especially if you have the Switch 1 version, where I've said in the past, if you get the Switch 1 version of this game, expect really bad performance, expect bad graphics, because I doubt they're doing anything to tighten up any of the problems with the Scarlet and Violet engine that were causing such major lags with the game. Speaking of that, there was a big problem that I had with Scarlet and Violet in terms of the Pokemon. The Pokemon were always spawning on the map in hordes, and it looked very unnatural. I mean, there were some Pokemon in trees, there were some Pokemon on tops of buildings, but everything just looked very unnatural. You could have a water spawn happen on land. It's like just weird instances of weird Pokemon spawning, where in this game, everything seems very natural, which is great, and there's less Pokemon spawning. Other people might not like that. Other people might be like, oh, there's not enough Pokemon in this. But I feel like when you're walking on the overworld, you can see Pokemon like they're supposed to be seen. They're not in groups. They are individually in spots where you think they should be. And they will interact with you. They will look at you. They will do things. They might battle you. They might just fly around you or something like that. And in this game in particular, maybe because the map's not big, you only focus in on one city, so you're really able to nail down kind of like how you wanted things to be generated. But I have found it much more enjoyable watching the spawns in this game. And that might not be good for shining hunting. I understand that. But overall, a cleaner feel, I feel like, in how they're spawning. That might be a very not popular opinion, but that's what I'm feeling, right? At least right now. And I will say on the downside of it is the wild areas aren't that great. They're kind of weird. They're in weird spots, and they don't get a lot of different or unique Pokemon in them. So you go to a wild spot or a wild zone and you enter it, and there might be like 5 to 6 Pokemon maybe as you enter, and then you kind of have to do some weird things to make them respond. Like you could like walk in and out of the wild zone, or you could just walk to the furthest point of the zone and then kind of go back, or you can like defeat the Pokemon. So spawning is a little bit different, and there's definitely not as many Pokemon on the overworld like Legends Arceus or Scarlet and Violet. But since Scarlet and Violet was having such a hard time loading all that, I think it's the right move to go. Even if the performance on the Switch one got better a little bit, it's still better than what it was. Because honestly, guys, Scarlet and Violet, not like playing experience, completely different from this playing experience, at least on the Switch 2. The other big thing about this game, the Pokemon Legends brand has introduced, is like this new combat system. And the new combat system is even different than Legends Arceus. Legends Arceus had the strong style and the speed style. It was just a different way to battle, and they got rid of that. So now it's more of like a cooldown system. So every move has a cooldown. You use it, and you can see that it, the color fades away, and then you have to wait a certain amount of time before it comes back out. However, during this entire time of battling, you can hit all those buttons as much as you want. No PP. There's cooldown stats where the stronger the attack, the longer it takes for the cooldown to regenerate, and everything's in real time. So as you are attacking, you can just throw out all your attacks, and your opponent, I'm going to tell you right now, is going to just do the same. So it's kind of like you're button mashing. So it kind of takes not a lot of skill. And I do know that some people might have a problem with that, because the other thing that the Legends series has gotten rid of is abilities, which every Pokemon has a unique ability, and in these games they're just not there. So I could see where you could have the perspective where they've stripped it down a little bit too much. And I could agree with that point. There are some times when you're battling where you just are spamming, and there's not a lot of skill that goes onto it. However, there is something that I do like in this, and that is when you are attacking Pokemon, it no longer tells you if the move is super effective or not. I always felt that was a huge crutch, and I never enjoyed that in any Pokemon game ever since they introduced it. So the battle system is fine. I think it's just necessary because I think the thing that they were thinking of is, since there's a lot more battles in this game, they wanted to do like speed battles and kind of stuff like that. I think all the move animations look good. I think they're very resemblant of Legends Arceus. I do think Legends Arceus might have looked a little bit better, but I'm not entirely sure. There's some cool moves that happen on this. I really wish that they had these kind of effects for moves on the movement system, how you can kind of move around in Scarlet and Violet, but can't win everything in Pokemon. But there are some cool parts in this game. And one of those cool parts is the fact that Mega Evolution is back. I love Mega Evolutions. I know it's a gimmick. I understand that. It has been the only gimmick that has ever worked for Pokemon. And what do I mean by that? Well, if you didn't know what Mega Evolutions are, they're basically the next tier of evolutions if a Pokemon has already evolved to its final evolution. It's that next step, and all you gotta do is give them a stone, and in battle, you can hit the button, and they transform into that Mega Evolution. It's wacky, they're weird. Some of them are cool, some of them are edgy, like Absol, super edgy. Been running my team with the Absol that is given to you in this game, and it's just, stronger than any of the other Pokemon on the field generally. And it's fun. Is it an overpowered mechanic? Yes. When you're doing your regular battles and not like set battles, there are no trainers, at least as far as I've gotten to, that will also Mega Evolve. So if you're able to Mega Evolve almost like instantly, almost every single time that you're battling, you could easily wipe out a team of 4 with 1 Mega Pokemon. So, overpowered, makes the game too easy? Absolutely. Do I like seeing the new Mega Evolutions that they've introduced? They've actually introduced a ton for Black and White Pokemon. They've introduced a ton for X and Y. And I've seen some Galar Pokemon get some Mega Evolutions. So I am pleased to say that there is a bigger range of gens that they decided to jump into, and they all pretty much make sense. Design though, oh my gosh, they are either using AI or they're just going for these kids' brain rots. Like, I swear. I think a lot of the designs were meant to, I don't know if they're meant to be funny. I just feel like a lot of it is like brain rot. I know there's the meme Starmie with like the extended legs and stuff, but also like the Phalanx. If you look at Mega Phalanx, like that looks like a Roblox character, just like each part of the body with the sword. And like there's at some point where it's just like, did you rush this? But then it's like, are they really trying to target like way younger kids? Like, are they trying to have these games target like 5 to 7 year olds pretty much and what they see? And if that's the case, they really need to realize that these kids that they're supposedly targeting are not the kids that are going to be spending close to $100 on the game, which is a huge point. People are making great points on what you're paying for. And I do not think this game is worth $70 and then $100 for the DLC that hasn't even released yet, because there isn't a lot of things here that would tell me that this game will be fun in a long term, right? I feel like once I finish this game, I will be satisfied that I finish it and never pick it up again. Meaning there's not a lot of time for me, like I'm not going to have hundreds and hundreds of hours in this game. The battling system is too easy. Once I beat the Pokedex, there will be nothing to do. I'm assuming, based off of the fact that a lot of these modern Pokemon titles do not have a long post game because they want you to buy the DLC. And if that's the case, and the DLC ends up being way better than like the main game, that just goes to show that priorities are different, and they should be a lot different for a company as big as Pokemon is. There's also a problem, I feel like, with understanding the difference between old fans and new fans. So if you are newer to Pokemon, I don't think you would understand why people are being so up in arms about this. But if you are an older Pokemon fan that has missed out on a couple of generations and have missed out on like some of the more recent ones, and you just decided with all the Pokemon hype to come in and start playing, you're going to be very disappointed, especially if you played like the original. This game is nothing like a lot of the modern games that are coming out. A lot of things that would make sense to put into it just aren't there. And that is because of how Game Freak operates. Like, I don't want to say they don't care. If they really had cared and wanted this game to be like eons different from Scarlet and Violet, they wouldn't use the same engine. And this has been the case, as I said in the beginning, probably since X and Y, and it really doesn't matter how well the game sells or not. They're just going to keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over. And unfortunately, guys, if you are in that group of people that are upset with how unfinished the game is, especially on the Switch 1 side, I've seen some of the graphics, I've seen some of the errors that are happening with that, and that's why I was like, there's no point in getting the Switch 1 version. Like, this game is designed to run on the Switch 2. It was made with the Switch 2, dev kit, and they're trying to make as much money as they can off of your Switch 1 people. You know what I mean? So luckily you can also upgrade. If you end up getting the Switch 2, you can upgrade it with the Switch 2 edition for only $10 more, but the damage is already done. You've already beaten the game, and there's probably going to be a lack of content, which I would say after you catch all the Pokemon and stuff, there will be no reason to go back to it, because that's what actually happened in Arceus to me. So if you're like me, you probably will never go back to it. You do one playthrough, maybe two playthroughs, but that's it. However, I do feel like the story is good. I think it's fine. It's your average Pokemon story. I think all the Pokemon that they've decided to choose for the game have been good. I enjoyed my team. This is actually the first team that I really do like, my team of 6. I got Chikorita as my starter. Then I had a Mareep and Absol, and I'll do a separate video after I beat the game, and I'll go through my full team. And like I said, all the black and white X and Y love has been really good. I forgot to say, I'm also going to be biased to this because Chikorita is in fact my favorite starter, and I really do appreciate the fact that they brought it into the game. But yeah, so there's been some highs, there's been some lows. I will try to do a follow-up video once I beat the game for you guys. My true thoughts, I'll try to iron them out a little bit more, but for like a first impressions video, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm definitely not as low as some other people are, at least right now. But to put everything into perspective, it is exactly what I thought it was going to be. So anyone that was lying to themselves saying that this game was going to be completely different from what we've been getting for the past 10 years, I don't know what to tell you. You're going to be spending more dollars for video games in the future, and like, if that really matters to you, don't buy this game. It's not worth it. So anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this discussion. I know it's been a while since I've actually sat down and talked about some Pokemon stuff, talked about some video game stuff, and it's good to get back into it. My reffing has concluded basically for the season, so I'm going to be able to come back down to the basement along with you dwellers down here and make some videos for you guys. So if you haven't done so already, remember to be subscribed to the channel, leave a like on your way out. Really does help push the video out to new people, like-minded individuals like us. And drop a comment down below if you guys have been playing Legend Zaw, what you like, what you don't like. Drop your team down there. I'll see what you guys have come up with for teams. But anyway, guys, I hope you have a great one wherever you are, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.